On Valentine's Day night, sneaky adults stock the kids up with plenty of snacks. Then they crank the TV volume all the way up to block out any noise. An excited Homer pours wine for Marge by candlelight and scatters rose petals all over the bed. The 300-pound guy is as light as a butterfly, striking an elegant pose. But Marge must have had a bad drink. She says she's exhausted and just wants to go straight to sleep. Homer says he even prepared some romantic music, guaranteed to get her right in the mood. Oops, he accidentally played Maggie's lullaby tape. Marge falls asleep in seconds, but the passion didn't disappear. It just transferred from one person right to another. It's a long night. Homer stares wide-eyed, the sound of the ticking clock getting louder. Feeling frustrated, he just gets up to go for a walk. He carefully prepared a Valentine's dinner, but Marge only ate the appetizers. Homer starts to doubt his own charm. Could it be that his body and hairstyle just aren't attractive anymore? On a lively spring night like this, even the cats seem to be mocking him, and the planes in the sky don't look so innocent anymore. Even the clouds look a bit too scandalous, not to mention the soap-dropping guys in prison. Homer is sinking deep into a swamp of depression. Right now, anything looks like a lifesaver. An ad for an adult extension school in Springfield claims it can solve your relationship problems. So Homer heads there first thing in the morning. At the school, a classroom sign says, "Strip down for your wife." It looks exactly like the class he needs. The instructor is all about freeing your mind and pleasing your wife by rubbing oil all over your body for a sexy dance. Without saying a word, Homer takes all the oil the instructor prepared and slathers it on. The teacher says that was for the whole class, so please get out. Homer is so greasy right now that he can barely stand up. He just slides his way down the hallway, slipping right into a success seminar. An incredibly hyped up teacher says this book will unlock your true potential in life. A bunch of desperate people buy the expensive book, putting them one step further away from actual success. Human behavior is often so contradictory like that. The book says to treat every single day like it's your last day on Earth. The book also suggests decorating your workspace to be more inspiring. Homer reluctantly covers up his old posters, replacing them with pictures of successful people for motivation. The book also says to report all workplace problems directly to the boss. So Homer starts inspecting every flaw in the power plant. The safety hazards are everywhere. Slackers and safety violations are all over the place. After 30 minutes of observing, Homer is ready to report thousands of problems he noted down. He tells the boss he has a thesis on improving plant efficiency. Mr. Burns frowns. "Are you working this hard just to get a promotion and a raise? Have I been too nice to you people? How dare you have such fantasies?" Homer clearly misreads the room, and Mr. Burns asks him to cooperate. What comes next is an old-fashioned electric shock therapy for employees who dream of raises and promotions. Homer used to slack off all the time and had it so easy. The first time he actually tries hard, he ends up like this. He goes straight to Moe's Tavern to vent. He complains that his boss doesn't respect him at all. His friends tell him to get revenge fast before his anger fades away. Just smash the boss in the face with a brick. Homer thinks that's a bit too violent and lacks class. He wants to use his brain and plan a really high-end revenge. The next day at work, after racking his brain all morning, he sets a paper bag on fire, planning to make the boss stomp it out. Wait, no. Inside that bag is all the money he saved up for Lisa's college tuition. Homer sneaks around outside the office door and hears them plotting loudly inside. Smithers says, "What if the government finds out you buried nuclear waste under the Lego park?" Mr. Burns tells him not to panic, as the side effects won't show up that quickly. But the situation is way worse than he thought. The Lego bricks are already mutating from the nuclear radiation. Mr. Burns says that even if the nuclear waste is discovered, he won't be the one taking the blame. The legal owner of the company is actually a canary. Through some shady legal loopholes, he made the bird the official CEO. Other rich folks all do the exact same thing. Whenever things go south, there's always a scapegoat ready to take the fall. Homer thinks this massive secret is the perfect leverage. A sneaky plan to seize control starts brewing in his head. Later that night, it's father and son to the rescue. He brings Bart along to break into the plant and secretly release the canary. The very next morning, Mr. Burns realizes his little feathered scapegoat is nowhere to be found. Homer rushes in with perfect timing, yelling that the Nuclear Regulatory Commission is here to inspect the plant. In a total panic, Mr. Burns desperately searches for a new fall guy. Homer steps right up and volunteers. Mr. Burns immediately declares that that Homer is the actual owner of the power plant. If there are any issues, take it up with him. Homer, clutching the ownership papers, smiles and says, "Yep, and you are officially fired. There are no inspectors. It was all just a brilliant scheme to take over the plant." Mr. Burns says he didn't know Homer had it in him. He congratulates Homer for finally doing something worthy of his respect. Mr. Burns tries to walk away quietly, but Homer decides to give him a completely humiliating exit. Just like that, Mr. Burns' reign of terror is over, and it's time for Homer's era of completely clueless management. But is an incompetent boss really any better than an evil one? The very first thing he does as CEO is use the automatic doors to crack walnuts. Homer has always been curious how many walnuts those electric doors could crush at once. But once the honeymoon phase of power wears off, the pressure of actually running a company hits him hard. Managers from every department start piling on the problems. Homer gets sick of listening to them and decides he needs a vacation. So he moves his entire office to the beach, but the managers just keep nagging him. Homer runs out to the water, but the managers literally act as stepping stones just to keep listing the company's problems. Being the boss looks glamorous, but the hidden struggles of the job are very real. Homer gets so busy he can't even have dinner with his family, forcing him to use a computer to fill in. As a father and a husband, he starts coming home late at night, too exhausted to even look at Marge. He feels completely hollowed out by his work while he's stuck, stressing out in the office. The weather outside is gorgeous and kids are playing baseball. He realizes he might never have time to watch Bart grow up. Just then, Mr. Burns returns from his vacation. Homer treats him like a total lifesaver, asking him how he ever managed to run the company, because it's just too hard. You have to push away your family and alienate your friends. Mr. Burns just smiles and says that's the loneliness of being at the top. "Let me show you all the people I've alienated over the years." He says all these graves belong to friends and family he neglected. "I was so busy that I literally missed my own wedding, and someone else had to take my place on the honeymoon. I couldn't even make it to our divorce hearing. She ended up living a long, happy life with a huge family." Homer suddenly gets it. If things keep going like this, someone else will steal his wife. He'll lose everything, and the only thing waiting for him is an early grave. He thanks his old boss for the advice and decides to hand the power plant right back to him. Mr. Burns replies that wasn't his point at all. His point was that anyone who crosses him ends up 6 feet under. Mr. Burns actually brought his own bricks to wall Homer in. He worked all through the night, but only managed to lay about 2.5 bricks. Homer stretches and says he slept amazingly well. He drapes a coat over Mr. Burns. From now on, he's letting go of his obsession with power. He just wants to spend time with his family, starting with a nice game of baseball with his son. It doesn't take long before the father and son start fighting. Spending time with Bart has its incredibly frustrating moments, but honestly, not being able to spend time together is much worse. When you don't have the time, you miss spending time with your kids. When you do have the time, you just want to strangle them. When you're broke, you want to climb the ladder. But once you reach the top, you crave an ordinary life again. Humans are always drawn to what they can't have. Desire is like trying to fix what's missing. If a starving man doesn't want to eat, he will starve to death. But if a completely full man keeps on eating, he might just eat himself to death. Craving what we lack is a basic human survival instinct, but it also brings us endless frustration. We obsess over yesterday and dream about tomorrow, but we completely ignore the beauty of today.